Hi, ladies. Welcome back today with Jackie and Laura. I'm so excited because we are going to be talking about a topic that I know I, in the past, really, really struggled with when I first started putting myself out there. And and it wasn't just in business or work, but also when we're consuming information online and seeing what everyone else is doing around us, that can really make you feel so crap about yourself, about where you're at this point in time. And that topic is envy. So let's go for it, ladies, because we all have been there and we know exactly how that outside pressure can make you feel.
Thanks for having us, Sam. I think, yeah, it's a really good topic because I think we've all faced it, especially over the last few years. I think we've all gone to that point we've sat there and thought, oh, I wish I could be like them or like that. And I wish my business run like this or like that, all my life or whatever it is you're trying to do, which is really, if we look deeply, it is about envy, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it can be quite disabling as well. Like you self-edit, oh, well, I can't do that, therefore I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like self-editing is such an amazing word to use because you're looking at something outside towards somebody else where you don't have all the pieces of information. And so, if somebody online, for example, and we're going to talk a lot about online because that's where a lot of this is now coming to us on our phones, in our pockets, and you see someone is celebrating this amazing life that they have, and you are taking that information and self-editing and questioning and internalizing, which is affecting how you feel about yourself. But you don't have all the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle of that person's life. And what's that phrase when you hear them saying, that the best relationships are the ones that you can't see anything about online. You know
Mm,
that one.
mm, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I think thinking about that, Sam, is like, you know, and Laura's word self-editing. I think it's quite an interesting word. And we we go onto that online space and we think, oh, they're fantastic. But actually we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if somebody else actually did all the videoing or the content writing or whatever for them, or if they pay somebody to do it, or whether they do it themselves. So when we're looking at it, think, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But we haven't got we're not in their shoes, if you like, to speak. So we don't really know. And they're not in our shoes. So they don't have the distractions and the things that we have. Like you've got two young children, you've got teenage children, mine have left home. But we all face different circumstances, different countries, different areas, which creates different problems for us. Whether it be, we've talked about this last week because of everything that's going on at the moment, you know, for me, because I'm in France, there are certain platforms I'm not allowed to use because France have banned them, which you might be able to use. So there's all of those things as well that make our content or our thoughts be, if only I was like so and so, which when we look deeply, that is that word envy, isn't it?
Mm. And the fear of being honest about where you're at and how many people are afraid to talk about their failings, which I don't see as failings. We can say it's failing forward, which it absolutely is, but is it a failing or is it a test? Is it an experiment? Is it another step forward because you've learned so much from it? And I recently had a failed launch because I was launching something new, and I am completely happy to share that and to say to people, oh yeah, and it didn't actually fail because I had a beautiful person sign up for it, but it was a group program, and when you don't have a group, you can't do a group. So you have to then turn that into one to one and be creative and turn it into something else. But when you're an entrepreneurial mind, even if you're employed and you're working in a job, but you know you have something in you, you know you have more, you're creative, you have things you want to do. When you're looking at people above you who inspire you, the big names, obviously they have made success for themselves, and that's amazing. We're talking massive people: Jay Shetty, Mel Robbins, Brené Brown. You can say all the names of the people who you love and inspire you. They're two things. Not only are they right at the end of where you want to get to, which is already going to make you feel entirely crap. You're starting from the beginning, and we're at 60 followers, not hundreds of thousands, and we're at one person signed up, not 50, right? Not only is the distance so large, when you listen to those people start talking about when they failed, here's how I'm also feeling at the moment. Well, that's okay. You can talk about it now because you made it. But where were you talking about this when you were failing? And because people aren't honestly sharing online or anywhere when they've actually failed, how can they be inspired to know that it's okay, that it's not actually a failure?
It's a learning curve, isn't it? And I think if you can share that learning curve, then you help somebody else when they get to that learning curve to make that next step. Because you get to that point, you think, well, I'm never going to achieve that. And so it becomes daunting and you just think, or you give up, which is what a lot of in our field is what they do. A lot of people get so far and then they think, I can't deal with all of this. And they just give up. But if you want to do that next step, then you've got to look and break down, which is what we've been doing, is looking down and saying, okay, there's where I want to be. I'm here now. But what's the next thing, next one thing, not the next 100 things, but the next one thing that I need to learn to be able to make that. And if we're always looking at, we're never, the saying goes, never too old to learn, but we never should stop learning. We should stop. Like, we've tackled something huge over the weekend, you know, and yeah, we talked backwards and forwards all weekend about it, but we learned an awful lot in that process on how to use a different platform and how to use different things. But it's a learning process. Or we could have gone, oh, well, they've said that unless you're this, this, and this, you can't be on YouTube or whatever it is. And we could have gone, well, might as well just give up then. But no, we got to look at different ways to share what we do. And it could be we look at that and we go envy, because there's, for me, things like Dr. Patrick Vickers, there's Dr. Axe and others that are doing those things and are really good at it, but they are facing an awful lot of situations, you know, and there are many like that in the alternative field. So you could then think to yourself, well, actually, I'm never going to be like them. I'm never going to have a site like them. I'm not, you know, but they all had to be in the same position we were at some point. And so we've got to, yeah, we're probably facing a much harder uphill struggle. Don't worry about what I was going to say. That wasn't going to make any sense.
In the health and wellness space, absolutely, because we all know how protected that space is from certain folk.
Things.
Yeah.
What do they say in neuro-linguistic programming? There's no such thing as failure, there's just information. So what doesn't work, what didn't work, why didn't it work, what can I do differently, what have I learned from that?
And that's true, isn't it? Because it is about our programming. What we think is right is the issue, isn't it? Because once you've learned something, you've opened that, you say, well, I know that now, so what else do I need to learn to make that next step?
I think a really powerful question, write this down if you're listening or watching, is, do I have all the pieces of the information? Do I have all the pieces to be able to make this judgment about myself? Is it true?
Because even like in the perfect, someone showing an image of their perfect room, you're seeing that part. You're not seeing, I mean, literally that they moved things and there's a big pile of junk.
You know,
Yeah. Or like they're sitting
They're
outside.
covered in paint because this is the nice room, but the rest of it is a coal hole, old Victorian destruction zone. Like it is just we're doing a massive renovation right now. And exactly what you've just said, we only want to show the nice bits, right?
It's like me sitting outside in France. And then if you see the inside of a 300-year-old cottage that needs renovation, same thing.
You know,
You're like,
I have my baby, he's a toddler now. But I have a 15-month-old and a 7-year-old. I'm homeschooling mum. I have a bathroom that is covered in, you know what, clothes everywhere on the floor. Don't even speak to me about my kitchen right now. And I just
Yep.
spent the entire weekend working on technology with Jackie, and housework did not get done.
Yep, and I sorted my entire balcony yesterday. That looks great, but sitting in my hall waiting to go downstairs, there's a massive, I think, 50-inch pot that's full of earth and it's just sitting, the hole is a mess because it's just sitting there. And another bin liner that's waiting to go down, but I didn't have time to do it. So that looks great. This looks great in the hole. Not so good.
yeah.
When we're feeling that pang of envy in our stomach, which is usually where it sits, I remember a really powerful conversation I had a few years ago with somebody, and I turned around and I just calmly said, if you were where you wanted to be, would what that person is doing and saying be bothering you? To which the response was, ooh. Because really, if we can be brave and have that courage to look within and ask ourselves that question, if we were where we want to be, would what they're doing be bothering us? This can work for negative comments. This can work for people taking ideas, copying your stuff. In the online space, when you're entrepreneurial and you've got your own business, that happens all the time. Somebody's following you just because they want to copy the things that you're saying and doing. And you just all of a sudden feel this icky pressure and you want to move away from it. So the copycatting, if you were where you wanted to be, would what they're doing be bothering you?
I think so much if when you feel envy, it can be actually quite a healthy emotion. We kind of try to run away from it, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be that person that feels that way. But actually, if you sit with it, as you say, find out where you're feeling it, it's actually an empowering emotion because it tells you this is what I want to
Mm.
do. This is where I want to be. So how am I going to take the steps to get there? It points out something that you feel maybe missing for you. So it gives you a spur to actually make some changes for yourself.
I absolutely agree. I think one of the hardest things is being able to say out loud to ourselves what it is we want.
Mhm.
I
Or
think,
even to own envy, even to actually own it, because it's a, oh, are you that kind of person then? Oh, it's not nice. It's not a nice emotion. We're told not to have it.
mhm, mhm. But what do I always say? Follow the resistance.
Mm.
Resistance is the yellow brick road.
Mm. Yeah.
But absolutely, absolutely, we feel like we need to be this perfect person, but on the spiral of emotions, which I will share actually as a post because it's an amazing image that I've shared a few times. I'll share it again. But with the spiral of emotions, there are so many different emotions in between each level of going from like 20 all the way to where you think you want to be. And we feel like we just need to disregard all the ones at the bottom. That's not where we want to be because we don't want to feel sad. We don't want to feel depressed. We don't want to feel jealous. We don't want to feel envy. We don't want to feel anger. But every one of those emotions helps you climb up to where you want to be, what is it showing you? That feeling when it comes up, what is it showing and telling you? It's a message within you.
And yeah, and I think thinking of that, just as you know, you might sit there and think, okay, so I'm lacking in that, or I'm not good at that, or whatever it might be. And I think so actually envy is a good quality to have in a way, because you can learn from it. Not, yes, it's not a nice quality to have, being envious of somebody, but look at it and say, well, what can I learn from envy? What can I learn from, I'm thinking, oh, I wish I was like that, or I wish I could be as good as that, or I wish I could do this. When you're looking at those people that you feel, you know, that you look up to, whether it be, you know, the Tony Robbins or the whatever, you know, when it comes to selling, we talked about this the other day, you know, we'd all like to be better at it, you know. So we've got to, like you said, we've got to take that spiral, but we learn from that so that we get to the next one that we need to learn from, and up we go, because there's always something to learn. And even if we've been there once, we'll be there again at the next stage, and at the next stage, and the next stage, because those emotions come into every stage of our life until we get to that goal. But then even when we get to that goal, we might then still want to keep going up that ladder, or thinking, actually, oh, I should have stayed at that level. So we have a different kind of envy.
When you imagine that staircase and everybody tells you to take tiny steps, one step at a time, what's the point of taking that step forward if you're just going to stand on that new step, jumping up and down, screaming, going, I hate the step? Thank you so much, ladies, for chatting about envy today, because it is a real raw emotion that comes up within all of us. And I think that shame melts away when we can be honest and open about it.
Definitely.
So as ever, it's been lovely, and we will certainly come on again soon and chat to you about something else. Let us know in the comments what you would love us to talk about. Is there an emotion out that you would love us to discuss, or anything else? And we'll certainly come and do that. So have a great week, everybody, and take care.
Bye.